Counterpunch promo live in 3, 2, 1.
ipmNation.com.
Why is everybody whispering? There's no need to whisper. It's time to give everyone a preview of what's happening this week on IPM Nation. IPM Nation Sneak Speak, kicking around the week ahead.
Good evening once again. It's Sunday night, which means it's time for Sneak Speak. I'm Brian Brawdy, along with Mr. Matt Connarton from IPM Nation itself. Matt, how are you, sir? What's going on?
I'm doing well. I got a belly full of meatloaf, and I'm good. How are you?
A belly full of meatloaf. I wasn't expecting that. I would have, with news like that, I'd have thought you'd have gone, I chuckle every time you do that open. I go, a belly full of meatloaf. Well, that's good. That's good for Sunday night. So, belly full of meatloaf, getting ready for The Walking Dead. It's on tonight.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I've never seen. I have not seen a single episode of that show.
Really?
Yeah, I never have.
Yeah. It's that one. I like Vikings. I don't know if you and I have ever talked about this, but I like the show
I thought
Vikings.
you mentioned it.
Yeah, I like Vikings. And I love The Blacklist. And our good friend Rob from Rob and Slim is just a very gracious guy. Good golly. And he'll call me from time to time. It's happened twice now where he'll call and say, hey, I've written a new script. Can you voice over a character for me? And I'll be darned if he doesn't call every Friday night. Or he doesn't text me every Friday night, and I go into a communications blackout. You'd think Rudy Giuliani had taken over. I go into an absolute communications blackout, nothing out, within 30 minutes of The Blacklist on Friday nights and 30 minutes afterwards, just so my pulse will calm down, right? Or total communications blackout. So Rob will tweet me or text me or whatever he does, message me. How about this? And because I don't get back to him right away, he gives the part up to somebody else.
Oh.
He goes, so I finally texted him or tweeted him or messaged him, whatever it is, Friday night, and go, Rob, dude, brother, a full 2-hour communications blackout Friday nights whenever The Blacklist is on. You got to give me, I'm not going to get a message until James Spader's been off air for like 30 minutes. I loved him in Boston Legal, though, even. I've always been a James Spader fan, so.
Oh, I loved Boston Legal and William Shatner was great in that. It's just a great show.
And I think the prettiest woman I have ever seen on TV was the other lawyer. The assistant with the auburn color hair that came into the later series. And you'd think I'd know what her name is, but she had a little bit, maybe like an Australian or some other type of accent. But I used to watch that show because of the banter between the two of them. They were just spectacular.
I know exactly who you mean. It's hard to remember all the names because there were a lot of cast changes over the course of the series. I think it only went for like 5 years, but it had a lot of casting changes in that time.
I don't know why, because I thought they did a great job. Shatner and him, and then the Murphy Brown lady was in there too. Oh, not Burgess Meredith. What is wrong with me? I must be running low. It is end of the day for me, right?
Candace Bergen.
Candace Burgess Meredith. What is wrong with me? I was in a group of people today that are all Ohio State fans. I know you're thinking, Bri, how did you get out of there alive? I know, believe me, I share your pain. And I made the mistake. I guess their mascot is called Brutus, which is this not a Black Eyed Pea. That's a band. It's a nut. It's some kind of candy. No, it's a Buckeye. Oh, it's a Buckeye, right? It's a Buckeye. So the candy is like chocolate and peanut butter. Buckeye, and their mascot's a human Buckeye. And I guess his name is Brutus, and I called him Rufus.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I didn't get any love for that. What do you mean, Rufus? I go, the name of your mascot. And they all just kind of looked around and go, oh, Rufus, what is wrong with you? I go, look, you and I don't have the time to go into that list. What is the name of the damn mascot place? They said, you mean, Brutus? Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Brutus. So I guess Burgess Meredith was not the name. Candace Bergen was the name that I meant to say. So that's that.
Well, you got the Burr. You know?
It'll be that word true. All right, brother. So before we ramble on and show my insanity, everything that I go throughout the week, what do we got going on? Hey, there's a new look over at ipmNation.com as well. I see our authors. So kind of go ahead. What can people expect when they tune into ipmNation.com? They come on over, hang it on the site. It looks a little different now. When you scroll down, there's different author. What's going on with that whole thing? Kind of catch me up, would you?
Yeah, so that's been something that we've wanted to do for a while, and then Jenny really kind of took it and ran with it, and has brought a lot of these folks on board. So one of the long-term plans for ipmNation.com is to really make it a multimedia destination where, you know, you have audio content, you have video content, and you also have blogs and articles that... you know, on different things, you know, politics, health, you know, even fiction, you know. So, so we're really kind of building that up, and it's taken off quickly.
Groovy.
In fact, there's an article up on there right now by Red Lawhern, Dr. Red Lawhern, who was on my show the other day.
Okay.
And he has brought us a ton of web traffic with an article that he wrote.
Very nice.
So far it's great. You know, if you ever want to write anything, Brian, we'll certainly we'll put it up. I have one article up there so far. I love to write, but it's something I just don't have a lot of time for. But the feedback we're getting on this has been phenomenal. So,
great.
You know, and it's just kind of another arrow in our quiver.
Sure.
I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but
yeah, no, I think you are.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of arrows in our quiver, should say hello to Derek is watching. Wayne is watching. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week. Speaking of arrows again in our quiver, thank you for hanging out over in the thread here at Sneak Speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. And Derek's got a show coming up here in a little bit, top of the hour, 8:00, which, you know, even though he's listening, you know he's not listening, right? He's busy running around getting his first show, so I can say this just between you and me. It's a damn good thing he's on at 8 because Walking Dead starts at 9, right?
Oh.
Yeah, so I got to have this whole thing wrapped up, right? I like to watch what the boy's going to say, get in there, watch him do some jumping jacks, this and that, you know, whatever's going to happen, whatever's going to go down. He's got a really good show tonight.
Sure.
Like, what if you want to start your exercise program for the first time, right? What if you're a newbie, if you will, right? It's starting a source. He's going to deal that. And then here's the thing that I really love about it. In the closing 5 minutes of his show, he's going to respond to questions. So now, Matt, after all these years, I'm the one that gets to sit there and do the countdown for Wayne to make sure that he makes it out on time. My little way of helping, right? I'm a team player.
Yeah, very good.
No, I don't look at it as returning the favor. I'm a team player. That's all I'm saying, right? I get in there. And before they took my phone, I learned how to do emojis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never knew. I was like, how do people get all these emojis? And someone said, well, don't you have that thing turned on your phone? And I go, there's a thing on your phone for emojis? And they go, well, yeah. And I go, well, giddy up. Where do you turn that on at? So now I'm just like, right? Everything's an emoji. I like dropping bombs and cutting out green brain tumors. It's something else. I'm really digging it. So that's that.
There's an emoji for that?
Well, you know what? You have to combine. Now, thank you for asking. Talk about news you can use. Maybe this could be a section on ipmNation.com, multimedia, interactive, that kind of thing, right? How to best use your emojis. So I take a picture of a brain, and then I take a picture of a pair of scissors, an emoji of a brain, a human brain, an emoji, pair of scissors, and then this little green thing that looks like a germ. So it's cutting out brain tumors.
Oh, okay.
But you raise a valid point. The scissors shouldn't quite possibly go first. So cutting brain tumor. See, that's why you're the bigwig. You're smarter than me. You're saying the scissors. That's a great point, Matt. The scissors should go first. right?
Right.
Well, just the news you could use, right? Oh, speaking of news you could use, I've been wanting to talk to you all day. Now, I know we want to talk
Yeah.
about IPM Nation, so you want to talk about top 10 cities? What do you want to talk about this week? And then I got to ask you about all the news blowing up in Washington, D.C., right? Because I just got to know from someone that follows that kind of stuff. Wayne says in the thread, sorry in advance, I'll be disappointing you, but tonight we end at exactly 8:30 OB. That were it true. I'll be texting Wayne bomb emojis. I don't know if you know this, Matt. There's a little bomb, like one of those old-fashioned bombs, like the Roadrunner would give the coyote.
Yeah.
Yeah, those little bundles of dynamite. There's one of them in the emoji world.
Oh,
So see, now look, for those of you that were thinking you're on the fence going, yeah, it's going to take me a while to get the guacamole dip ready for Walking Dead. So I may not be able to tune into Derek's show. Now here's a reason to tune in to see if Wayne actually makes it off at 8:30. Right? So get the dip. Don't leave our show. Don't. But then, as soon as our show's over, run and get the dip ready and go from there. So that'll work. All right, Matt. So what else is going on? The site's looking great, by the way. New shows. I love that Dumb and Busted. I love Sean. Sean said the other day in the feed, he goes, oh, well, Brian thinks I'm a conspiracy nut. Can I tell you what I think about Sean?
Yes.
And for goodness sakes, I hope his name is Sean, right? I mean, we're talking about the same guy, aren't we?
Sean Carone, host of Awakening Liberty, Saturdays at noon.
Yeah, see, I thought I had his name right. I have to tell you, I don't think he's a conspiracy nut at all. And the doctors say, well, Brian, look, through all this, it's important that you continue to read and continue to work your mind, right, so that it doesn't, really, Matt, honestly, so that it doesn't atrophy. And Sean's show takes my mind in so many different directions that it's creating new neuronal connections that I never would have had before. And if that makes me a conspiracy nut, then give me 2 helpings, right? So I love Sean's show, and because, very medically, it's making new connections that I wouldn't have. Like AOC is now a Hollywood actress planted to win an election. I never would have thought that. Exactly, right? So when I listen to Sean, and he's always very gracious, he's like, we're going to make an announcement about our 18-hour international block party. We'll make that towards the bottom of the hour. But he's very gracious. He wants in. He's going to jump in. He's going to do this and that, like you and Rob and Slim and Jenny and everyone else that's volunteered to, help us make the 18-hour special to all the listeners. But I love Sean. He just makes my mind go in directions that I never would have thought of.
Yes. Well, and I'll tell you, like, I wasn't kidding when I was saying that time that we had him on Sneak Speak, and he's talking about the envelopes that were given out at the Bush funeral,
right?
And then I'm going, like, during the show, I'm going on YouTube looking up those videos. Yep. And I made a comment during the show, and I think I made a comment afterward online somewhere. I said, I still can't figure out these envelopes. Like, and I'm not a big conspiracy guy. I mean, my attitude tends to be, look, our government couldn't even keep Watergate quiet, but 9/11 is somehow this giant conspiracy. Come on. I'm a skeptic by nature, but I still can't figure out those damn envelopes.
Right. Well, and I thought of it afterwards. Maybe they got their parking validated, and those were just their slips. They didn't want them to wait in line, right, to get the validation, get the slips. So the Secret Service is like, oh, screw it, just go and sit down. We'll bring you your validated parking slips.
Perhaps.
But that's it. And they didn't want everyone to know they were validated parking slips, whatever. So they put it into envelopes. I don't know, but I will tell you, his show makes my mind go in totally different directions, as does Rob and Slim. I can't thank you enough for the introduction of those guys, and just because Rob's become, a good friend and a great acquaintance, but he puts a lot of effort into that. A lot of effort. I mean,
he does.
You know what I mean? Oh, Brian, I was reaching out to you on a Friday night. I'm writing a part just for you. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pre-production that I don't know anything about. Let me tell you that. What do you got planned for tomorrow's show? Couldn't tell you.
Right.
Yeah, God love him. All right, so let's get back to it. So what's going on IPM Nation this week? We've got the authors. Everyone else is coming up. Top 10 cities. Any news there? Top 10 shows. Any new shows that you want to go ahead and make mention of?
I don't think we have any new shows debuting this week, but then again, that'll probably, if not this week, probably next week, because I think we do have a couple more people coming on board.
Oh, very cool.
Very, very, very soon. I just don't feel confident yet in saying who they are.
Okay.
But, so the family continues to grow.
Groovy.
Oh, I should mention, we did lose somebody.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
Mr. Baseball. John Weeks was his real name, but he hosted a show for us called Mr. Baseball, which is up on the you can find it on the ipmNation YouTube channel.
Okay.
He passed away a couple of actually it was Friday.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Very, very nice man. I think he was 79.
Wow.
He had double pneumonia, from what I understand.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, obviously, we're thinking, does he have a lot of family left? I mean, other than his ipmNation family, are there people that we should give a shout out to? Or most certainly, if there are, our best to his family.
Oh, of course, yeah. And I didn't know him that well personally, but I do have really nice memories of him because before I started doing my show on WMNH here in Manchester, I used to be a regular on John Hofwitz's show there, Cellophane John, on his television show, Ward 13. And sometimes I would go on there, and Mr. Baseball would be on there as well, and they would be trying to have a serious discussion about baseball. And I was there to kind of be the foil because I don't know anything about sports.
Agreed.
So I would just be sitting there making smart-ass, dumb comments the whole time.
So you're like Cellophane John on your show.
Right.
It's just the role reversal. Okay, gotcha. So smart-ass comments. Okay, I got that, right?
Yeah. So
was he able to identify racism in baseball? Was that the main thing? He was able to, get into the dugout, as it were, and make sure that everyone was...
Actually, that subject was discussed, but...
of course it was. Of course. Why wouldn't it be?
I would just be sitting there being obtuse, and Mr. Baseball, he had a wonderful sense of humor, and he was able to roll with the bit, and he was very patient with me while I, sit there and say things like, I don't even know how many quarters are in a game.
Right.
Things like that, just dumb stuff. But he enjoyed the comic relief, and he was a very, very nice man.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, you know what? He's gone on to the next gig. Here's the thing that I say about people, that 79 is not all that old, brother. I hope to make it through the 5th brain surgery, but after I get that in the rearview mirror, I hope to live to be older than 79. So our best goes out to his family for sure. I'm sorry that we've lost him, but you're going to keep it archived so you can go over to, what is the YouTube page? Is there a name for our YouTube page? It's ipmNation.
Okay. So if you go on YouTube and go to the ipmNation channel, and cool. Please, I would implore everyone who hasn't done so yet, please subscribe to the page.
Groovy.
And Mr. Baseball is one of the playlists that you can find on there.
Very cool.
You can check out his work.
Very cool. Very cool. What else we got going on this week?
Oh, you know what else, too, I'll mention? This is kind of a nerdy sounding thing, but
that's okay.
It is...
you just said obtuse.
Cool.
I don't think we could you just said obtuse. We were talking about being on a Cellophane John's show, so you and I can't get nerdier than having said the word obtuse 3 times now.
Absolutely.
There you go.
I did just install on the site a new search engine for the site that I think will work better than what we had.
Okay.
So you can see it right on the homepage.
Okay, great.
Right underneath the logos where you see site search. So people can find, if they're looking for specific content and whatnot on ipmNation.com, they'll be able to find it quick and easy.
Very cool.
We had a search bar before, but this one is better. So
that's not too nerdy. I think that's good. We want everyone to get to the information that they want, right?
Yeah.
We want everyone to be able to get to it and move on from there. That's great.
You would think it would be a simple thing to just have a search bar on a site that searches the site. You would think it'd be a simple thing from a programming standpoint, but it's actually a huge pain.
Is it? Do you know why it's a very simple thing? Now I have to disagree. Do you know why I think adding a search bar is a very simple thing?
Why?
Well, I just call Wayne.
Right.
Yeah, it's very simple for me, right? Search bar.
Right.
I'm lucky to be able to get into my own website, right? With amnesia, I'm lucky to be able to remember the password. And then now this new computer software upgrade just came out, and they don't like save it. You have to re-guess it and all the rest of the stuff. I'm like, yeah, well, this isn't user friendly at all for people with amnesia. So, but that's
right.
so I take it took a little longer for you to make this work.
Yeah.
The search bar. Okay, cool. Well, now everyone can be pleased. They got a new search bar. They can come on over. And I think people would be, if you don't listen to ipmNation.com already or our show on there, I don't even know why you'd be watching this show. But so I'm assuming most people listening on Sunday nights know a little bit about IPM Nation. But I'm always proud to mention to folks where it is and what it is, because there's all kinds of cool shows. Right? It's all kinds of cool stuff. So, very good. And I think the site looks better every time I see it. You're always coming up with creative ways. So I think that's very cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Now, a little bit of breaking news, and we mentioned it briefly before we came on air, but as always the case, I like to give you a little bit of advance notice. We were going to do March 30th. Is this for coming Saturday? A week from yesterday is going to be March 30th. But I'm going to spend a little bit of time on Friday the 29th and some things that I have to do over at the Columbus, Cranium Shack or whatever we call it. So what we've kind of figured out is the 30th, Matt, if I can impose one more time, we're going to move our 18-hour IPM Nation International Block Party to April 13th. If that's still cool with you, I'll change the graphic. If you can change the graphic on the front, we'll reach out to everyone, all the cool hosts that have offered to try to help us with this as well. As you know, that's the fundraiser for the Brian Brain Trust. What we did, Matt, is we went ahead, and for other people that don't know, April 23rd is a Tuesday morning immediately following Easter. That's the date that they're going to pick for my next little pedicure. So if that's cool with you, we're going to bump it, because they're kind of like concerned that Friday, it might be hard for me to last the full 18 hours. And I'd love to be as much a part of it as I could. So if that's cool with you, if we could reset the clocks, I'll put the new graphic up. I'll reach out to everyone that says, yeah, we're in. And if I could ask you to post it again here and at IPM Nation, we're going to do it on Saturday, April 13th. As the plan has it now, it will be from 6 a.m. till midnight. Unless, Matt, do you think most of the people on our channel, are they even up Saturday mornings at 6 a.m.? They're probably still busy just getting in from a Friday night. Should we do it? Should we just do a noon to midnight? What do you think is best?
That might be better.
Okay.
Because I think you're right. I think I know I'm not usually up that early.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just like me to go, let's do 6 a.m., right? But then I'm thinking, I'm the only person in the world up at 6 a.m., right, on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about we do that? We'll change it from an 18-hour block party to a 12-hour international block party, and it will go down on the 13th. Or you know what we should do, man? How about 13 hours on the 13th? So it'll kick off at 11.
I like that. 13 on the 13th.
13th on the 13th. It'll kick off at 11 a.m. April 13th, and we'll go till midnight. That'll give me plenty of time, and then I'm going to take the week immediately because, wait a minute, is that right? So, yeah, Easter is that following Saturday, Sunday. Easter is the following weekend, so that'll be good, and then it'll give me plenty of time to ramp up to head on over to, head on into the next adventure for me. So if that's cool with you, brother, then we will move it to the 13th. We'll call it the 13 on 13 and the International Block Party. So I super appreciate that. And I'll reach out, and like I said, to let everybody know, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much, as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that sounds good.
And it's doing really good, I have to tell you. We're at like $3,600 already. I think we're like a fifth of the way to what they had picked as the overall goal. So I should also thank people, especially people that are listening, that contributed over at Brian Brain Trust on the GoFundMe page. Thank you all so very much. I super, super appreciate it. And so thank you for that. And that's what I had, Matt, as it pertains to that and our International Block Party. So that's what I was going to throw in about it. How about you? What else we got going on this week as we come into the final 5 minutes of this week's episode of Sneak Speak?
Oh, hey, this doesn't really have anything to do with anything coming up on air.
Okay.
But without saying too much about it, because you are ex-law enforcement,
right?
You might be interested to know, because I don't think I've told you this. I have to sit down with some local prosecutors this week, because I'm going to be, our friend Slicko.
Yes.
You know Slicko from Slicko's World.
It's from Slicko's World, of course.
Here on ipmNation. So a few years ago, he was threatened by a certain individual over something he had said on the air, and that is so there was some criminal threatening done against him. This was 3 years ago now.
Wow.
And but the individual who threatened him also threatened some judges here in the area.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Trial.
Yeah, they don't like that. They don't like that.
That is frowned upon.
Yeah,
yes,
that's what I hear.
So, so she's going to trial for that, and I'm going to have to testify.
Wow.
Yeah, because of the separate incident where she threatened Slicko during her conversation with me, and I went to the police because she sounded pretty serious about it. So it's just a small part of my testimony. Is just a small part of a larger case.
Wow.
But yeah, this Wednesday, I have to sit down with the prosecutors, and then tentatively, I'm probably going to have to testify on April 2nd. I'll know more shortly, but yeah. So,
well, Matt, I got to tell you, you can't be too careful these days. Right? Someone says an off-the-wall comment, and then they send a letter, and the next thing you know, I would say you have to be careful. So good for you. It's sticking up for Slicko, right? And making sure that, because you never can tell. Because what would happen if you were like, oh, well, I didn't say anything, and then something really bad happened, then you'd kind of be like, uh-oh, well, what's going to go on there? So now you know. So I think that's great. So you'll go in Wednesday, and then they'll have you, depending upon if they if they think they can use your testimony, they'll have you back in on April 2nd, I think is what you said.
Right. That is how it looks currently.
All right.
Yeah. But it all goes back to a comment that was made on my show by Slicko. So Matt Connarton Unleashed can be very exciting.
There you go. And you got the whole thing going on with MC Hammer.
Yes.
Yes. See,
yes.
There's plenty. Maybe Sean should do a show about your show. There's some things going on there, right? That people could go, oh well,
goodness.
I don't wear a tinfoil hat, but that's a little bit of a red flag right there. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
right?
Maybe he can come up with a conspiracy theory about my show.
I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe you're like a plant. Maybe you're a Gene Simmons without the sunglasses look-alike plant. That is here to gather information. And now I got to be careful because I'm the one that'll be indicted, right? They're looking for anything they can. They'll say, okay, great. Yeah, that's
right.
Enough. Yeah, well,
that's right.
A big day we didn't much of a chance to talk about, which is probably a good thing because you and I would just get in trouble. But the Mueller, however it's pronounced, report was out today and saying that there was no collusion, there was no obstruction. So D.C. would have to be a cool place to be hanging out tonight, don't you think?
I would think so. Yeah. I'll be digging in on my show tomorrow.
That's what I figured.
With whatever's available. I mean,
right.
So far. I mean, I know we have the statement that William Barr put out or sent to Congress. I think what he said is that the report doesn't show that Trump or anyone in the campaign did anything criminal, but doesn't exonerate them either, which I thought was an interesting little
right. Well, they exonerated them from collusion, but not obstruction. They said there was no way. So the whole thing started about collusion with the Russian government. They said that's absolutely not true. Now I think they're talking about the what is it called? Not conspiracy, but that's the other term we were just talking about. See what happens when I'm a couple courts low? Obstruction. Thank you very much. So they're going to go. But here's the thing about it. It's like a UFO. If you believe in UFOs, then it's a UFO. If you don't believe in UFOs, then it was a weather balloon, right? So whether you believe he's guilty, you believe he's innocent, it's given you enough for both people to be able to say. But I would love to tune into your show tomorrow, because you can rest assured I will not talk about it tomorrow morning at all. That's real big.
Right.
But I will tune into your show. Matt, quickly, how can people get a hold of you and then tune in for your show tomorrow as well?
Yeah, Matt Connarton Unleashed is live weekdays 4 to 6 p.m. You can listen online at ipmNation.com/live1. And please like the Facebook page, Matt Connarton Unleashed, which is one of the ways you can get a hold of me.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to get out of here so that Wayne doesn't have to send me a bomb emoji. We will see you back bright and early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern, for All Natural Being. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Matt, please tell everyone at IPM Nation we said hello. We are out of here, and we will see you all next week. Have an absolutely fantastic evening. Matt?
Bye, everybody.
Or I could hit this one. That would be a better one, I think, Matt. What do you think? Yeah, that'd be a better one. I'll go with that one. Yeah, and I have to remember that
I can't hear you.
You can't. Yeah, this thing goes on for like 2.5 minutes, so I better go ahead and fade it out
yeah.
quick. All right, brother. See you next week.
All right.